Hello and welcome back to the channel. It seems that there's a new front in the culture war, and it's to bash people with mental health issues as if there is something morally wrong with us, or that we're just fakers and shit like that. Well, one of the things that they say is that we just want to be seen as victims. That's not it at all. We are not victims. We are ill. And what annoys me is we should be given the same sort of respect, or at least sympathy, empathy, that someone who gets cancer would get. Because unless you're a smoker and you get lung cancer, that is your fault. Because you're taking toxins in. And that is a known trigger for lung cancer. But you know, someone who gets testicular cancer or breast cancer, you don't blame them for their affliction. They get an illness. Well, that is what mental health issues are. It's an illness. There is a genetic component. It can run in families. It certainly runs on the maternal side of my family tree. It did not necessarily mean that I would fall to depression and mental ill health, but it did. People even have sympathy when someone breaks a leg. Now, they could be breaking their leg because they've been doing something stupid, some sort of dangerous pastime. But they still get more sympathy than someone who has not caused their injury, caused their problem. And what gets me is the people who are shouting most about mental illness in a negative way are, you know, the Nigel Farage, the Richard Tice, the Kemi Badenoch. These people are probably mentally ill themselves. They just don't recognize it, or they try to avoid that tag attached to their name. But they have delusions of grandeur. They believe they're better than other people. They seem to have an empathy deficit, which could mean that they are sociopathic. which means they are mentally ill. So it's hard to accept all this criticism. It's just another way of making a them and us. Oh, them is the mentally unwell. The us is the mentally well. It's another fault line that people just try to jab at. And the thing is, some physically disabled people, physically or have a sensory problem, look down on people with mental ill health. Not all, but some do. The thing is, you can work around a physical disability or a sensory disability. You can't work around a mental health issue. It's your brain. It's the thing that is supposed to make life worth living or make us different from other forms of life. And it's, you know, it's like you cannot see a mental health problem, but that does not mean to say you are not disabled by your mental ill health. People with mental ill health tend to get ill, physically ill, more often. And it makes it harder to socialize. We become isolated more than a physically disabled person does. I'm not saying that physically disabled people are not marginalised. They are, but not half as marginalised as people with mental ill health. Because they can work around their disability or their sensory impairment. You cannot work around something that's wrong in your brain. And while you can kind of try to live with a mental health problem, and some mental health problems are only short term, a long term chronic condition may not be curable. All you do is you get to try to live with it, live with the confines that your mental ill health places on you. And I just wish people would look at it in that way. You do not expect someone with a broken leg to go running. You do not expect someone who's blind to be a lookout. There are things that people with physical or sensory impairment cannot do. But there's a lot of stuff they can do because there are workarounds for all this. But you cannot work around a mental health issue because it's your brain. Your brain is the problem. So people who are turning it into a culture war issue are despicable, especially as I've said, they are probably suffering from a mental health condition themselves. Sociopathy, a lack of empathy. And I don't know if there's any way around that. But those who do not have mental ill health should respect those who do, because we suffer in a way that other people do not. You cannot work around a mental health problem, you can just live with it. A physical or sensory issue can be worked around. Anyway, I hope you found what I've said interesting, informative, or whatever. If you did, then please click the like button. It really helps the channel. Feel free to comment below this video with what you think, but please keep it constructive. Trolls will get their stuff read by me, but it won't go any further than me because I moderate. If you know someone with a mental health condition, then share it with them because they need to know they're not alone. And if you want to see more videos from me on various topics, then why not click the subscribe button and the notification bell so you know when the next video has been dropped. And I hope to see you all again soon.